Welcome back to NFL in Review. This is going to be week 8 of the 2025 NFL season. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get started. Thursday Night Football. Prime time on Amazon Prime. We have the Minnesota Vikings at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers bring back their retro San Diego Chargers uniforms. The much darker navy blue with the white lightning bolt, which I think looks pretty cool actually. As far as the game goes, Carson Wentz was not looking his best. I don't know what happened. Carson Wentz is thrown out there and now he looks pretty banged up. I'm not gonna lie, he looks pretty banged up. And I feel for him because he's one of the older quarterbacks. He's not old. I feel like he's getting there. I feel like the scores reflect that. Maybe they scored 3 in the first, and then they got a touchdown for 9, and then they got 10. So maybe that's what happened. That's the only way I could see it happening. Chargers were looking dominant. They're 5-3 now, and Minnesota Viking is 3-4. Carson Wentz, I feel like his days are numbered now. Now that people are starting to see how banged up he is and that he looks genuinely hurt when throwing and passing, it's just not. I don't think it can go anymore. So I think his days are numbered. And I think they're going to bring back J.J. McCarthy one of these days, one week or another. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to happen, but it's time to let the young boys play. Next up, we have the New York Jets versus the Cincinnati Bengals. After 8 long, grueling weeks of loss after loss after loss, the New York Jets pick up their first win against none other than the Cincinnati Bengals. Actually amazing. Who would have seen this coming? Well, me, because Cincinnati Bengals O-line is probably the worst in the league, the worst that I've ever seen in my life. Like, they couldn't stop the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, I think it was. What made me think that they were going to stop the Jets? Like, the Jets were like winless at this point up until this week. Joe Flacco was put in Justin Fields for the other team, for the Jets. I also want to point out, like, they did this for one of their players who they had recently lost. I believe they had retired a while ago, but his name is Nick Mangold, and he had some form of kidney cancer or something to that degree. Some sort of rare disease for rare kidney disease, or maybe it was kidney cancer. Whatever the case was, he was diagnosed with it and he couldn't play anymore. He's had it for so many years, and there was no match for his blood type. People wanted to reach out and try to see who could help him, but unfortunately, a few days ago, he had succumbed to the disease and he passed away at the age of 41. So I want to say, even though I did not know Nick Mangold as a player, please send your condolences, your thoughts and prayers to the family of Nick Mangold as they mourn the loss of him. Rest in peace to Nick Mangold. Congratulations to the Jets for getting their first win in his honor. This was all for him. So I want to this was honestly a great week for the AFC East, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Jets win. They were able to do it for him, for Nick Mangold, so that's a good thing. Another game, a divisional rivalry game, a classic divisional rivalry game between NFC East. We have the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. A classic matchup. I remember watching the Thursday night primetime where it was New York Giants at home beating the Eagles. They were on fire. They were looking pretty good, beating the team that won the Super Bowl this past year, which is pretty dope. They're gaining some momentum. Until first they lost Malik Neighbors. I don't think he was playing for that game, but now the injury happened that everybody was afraid of. Cam Skattebo, running back for the New York Giants, twisted his ankle, or maybe broke it, or he may have turned wrong. He injured himself on one play, only because I think one offensive coordinator was not looking right or something like that. Cam Skattebo hurt his ankle. His foot was turned the other way, and it was so grueling. I watched that live. I'm just like, oh no. And I'm a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, they're my favorite team from NFC East. So the fact that I see Cam Scatterboo and I feel bad for like seeing him hurt, that says something. Because one thing I'll say about Cam Scatterboo is that he is a monster on the field. When they were playing the Eagles a couple of weeks ago at home, he was on fire. He was doing it all. I was very impressed by him. And now Malik Neighbors is injured from a couple of weeks ago. I think it was week 3 even, week 4, one of those weeks. And now, a couple of weeks later now, fast forward to now, we have Cam Scatterboo injury. I honestly welled up with tears a little bit. Only because of the connection between him and Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart looked so visibly upset. He looked heartbroken and he was visibly frustrated. I feel for him. So that only tells me like they must have like a brotherhood going on like backstage. Like they must be super close for him to react that way. It's a very heartbreaking like thing to happen, you know? And who knows? I don't even think we have an update on like if Cam Scatterboo will return, because he didn't come back to that game. But for the next coming weeks, what is it going to look like for the New York Giants if Cam Scatterboo doesn't come back? I don't know. Like, I wish Cam Scatterboo a speedy recovery, obviously. Like, I don't like seeing players get injured. No matter if I hate the players or not, or if I dislike the team, I do not want to see anybody get injured. I want to see people playing at their best no matter what. And just seeing Cam Scatterboo get injured is just devastating. So I wish Cam Scatterboo a speedy recovery. Congrats on the Philadelphia Eagles for winning at home. I like the retro jerseys. I hope Cam Scatterboo is okay. I hope Jackson Dart is okay. I just know after that game, Jackson Dart rushed over to the hospital where Cam was at, and he was there by his side. I just know that happened. So they have a good brothership going on. We're just going to see what happens with the Giants in the next coming weeks. You want to talk about domination? Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. I don't really think I talked about the Tennessee Titans before on this channel. I know I talked about the Colts because obviously week 1, Miami Dolphins lost to the Colts and I felt like absolute trash. The Colts just continue to assert their dominance. I just cannot believe how incredibly well that Daniel Jones is doing on the Indianapolis Colts. He might as well be their next Peyton Manning, because honestly, with a record like this, like only 1 loss and then the rest are all wins, it's just like they're easily like, if you were able to see a playoff bracket, like that's exactly what it would look like. You would see the Colts being in the 1 seed, going straight to divisional, and then skipping the wild card round. I don't know who else is going to make it, but Colts definitely. They're looking... That's something I was not expecting, to be honest with you. Like, the Colts out of all teams... And I know I was very pissed off, like, in the very beginning of the season. Week 1 of losing to them. Of Miami Dolphins losing to them. I'm honestly happy for Daniel Jones that he finally found his stride. And that he's dominating. As far as, you know, the league goes, like as far as wins and records goes, 7-1, they're pretty up there. Like, they're the first of the first. As far as the Tennessee Titans go, I was happy to see Cam Ward there. I remember watching the draft last year and seeing Cam Ward be with the Tennessee Titans. I think he's starting to finally realize now, like, why the Titans are, like, not good. This is another divisional rivalry. I forgot to mention that. A divisional rivalry between the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. Just look at that. One team is 1-7 with only 1 win and then 7 losses, and then you got the other team, Indianapolis Colts, with only 1 loss, but then the rest are all wins. So funny to me. But I feel like Cam Ward is realizing, like, maybe this team isn't for him. As far they could get stuff done, but I feel like there's not enough focus, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that's the right word to use there, but I mean, against the Colts, like, you have to bring your A game when it comes to the Colts, like especially now with Daniel Jones being there. Good old Danny Dimes. I feel like Titans are going to have a lot to do. I don't know who they're facing unless next week is going to be their bye week. I'm not sure, but Colts are doing it all. They continue to assert their dominance over the league. We might see them as at the first seed, like without a doubt, as far as the AFC goes. Now we have primetime Sunday night football. We have the Green Bay Packers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's one thing that stands out. They brought back their 1933 jerseys, which is a very interesting take. And the first time I saw it, I wasn't even watching the game because I had checked out at that point. I was like watching Red Zone, and I had enough of like so many teams. I'm just like, I'm losing it. So I took a nap. Then I scrolled on. Then I woke up. I scrolled on my phone, looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers Instagram, because I follow all teams, even the ones I hate, even Atlanta Falcons, even New England Patriots, even Dallas Cowboys. I follow all the teams just to see what everyone's up to. So, looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, I saw that jersey on Aaron Rodgers. I'm just like, at first I thought to myself, I'm like, this has to be photoshopped. Then I tuned into the actual game because I was like, oh wait, the game's going on. And I looked, and they're actually wearing those jerseys. They looked like bumblebees out there. I don't know how I could look at that, wear like that jersey, and take the Pittsburgh Steelers seriously. I'm sorry. I have a best friend that's living in Pittsburgh right now, I think. Are they in Pittsburgh or Virginia or something like that? But they're Pittsburgh. She's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And if she hears me say that, she's not going to be happy with me. She's probably not going to watch this anyway. But my point still stands. I don't like those jerseys. I don't think anybody likes those jerseys except for hardcore Steelers fans. As far as the Packers go, I mean, I wanted to see those, like, I wanted to see that yellow helmet, but they were wearing like a Swiss cheese helmet, Swiss cheese colored helmet, like just white on white. It didn't look right to me. I don't know what was going on there. But as far as the game goes, Jordan Love was on fire. Aaron Rodgers was looking pretty good too. Like, these were two pretty good, like, stacked teams. So the fact that Jordan Love was able to get this done and not look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and still taking them seriously, I don't think I would. If I was a quarterback looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would not be able to focus because I would have been laughing all the way through. I don't know how Jordan Love was so focused and in tune with like what he was doing, because if I was on the front lines looking at these jerseys, I would have not been able, like, I would have thought that was like a college football jersey. Like, not an official jersey of the NFL, the National Football League, the top of the top, the best of the best. Congrats on the Green Bay Packers for getting it done. So, last but not least, we have the Monday Night Football game, primetime, ESPN. We have the Washington Commanders at the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, Chiefs blowing them out of the water only because Jaden Daniels is out again. Forgot why, but they threw in Marcus Mariota as their backup quarterback for the Washington Commanders. And he looks like he was doing pretty good against the Chiefs, who are pretty much a dominant team. I mean, props on them for doing their best, but Chiefs were able to do it. The only problem was Patrick Mahomes had thrown so many fumbles. I forgot how many fumbles he did, but there were so many fumbles. They recovered all of them. I think there was probably one interception, but so many fumbles, which they recovered all of them. So I don't know how that happens. Probably the first time in his history that he's ever done so. It's not really looking good for, Kansas City in that aspect, but they still won. They still won regardless. I feel like if Jaden Daniels was quarterback, I feel like, well, actually, I think most of the Washington Commanders team is hurt right now, so they didn't do as good. But if everybody was healthy, I think this would have been a much closer game than it would have been otherwise. I don't know. Hopefully Jaden Daniels comes back. Hopefully the other team can do what they're told. Maybe their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, doing all that. Maybe maybe they can get something different. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, this was pretty bad, at least for the Commanders. But well, what do we have here? We have the Miami Dolphins against the Atlanta Falcons, and we managed to actually beat the Falcons this week. That is actually crazy. But to be fair, they did have Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is like the best of the best or anything. I mean, I feel like if they had Michael Penix Jr. out there, then yeah, I feel like we would have lost that game. But then again, it's like, I want you guys to think back to last week. If you guys think back to last week, we lost against the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland freaking Browns, okay? And then we go up against one of the better teams, the Atlanta Falcons, and we win? Now, also another thing. If you guys also think back to last week, you'll remember Tua Tagovailoa talking about how he's not the tallest guy in the league, and that he can't see past some guys, and that he can't see Jalen Waddle, he can't see his receivers, so that's why he blamed that on why they lost that game. Now fast forward to this game, right? Fast forward to Sunday's game, where Tua, mind you, he has an infection in one eye and he had to wear a visor. And if I remember correctly, this is the first time in his career that he ever had to do that. So wearing that with one infected eye, he was able to see Jalen Waddle clearly. He passed to him. It was a completed pass. Jalen Waddle went for a touchdown. The math ain't mathin'. Something ain't adding up here. Something ain't right. If you say you can't see past guys because you're not the tallest, and then literally the next week later, 1 week later, you're passing to Jalen Waddle successfully for a complete pass to make a touchdown, like, make it make sense. I was going to say this last week because I was expecting to lose to the Falcons this week, honestly. Like, I'm talking to Falcons fans, right? I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, and I was expecting to lose to you guys. Really. Honest to God. I'll say this anyway, only because I still firmly believe this. The Miami Dolphins are not where we're supposed to be, okay? And I'm a fan saying this. Obviously, I know all fans think their team should be better. But as a Dolphins fan, there are some fans out there that have been loyal to the organization for longer than I have been alive. And I'm 28 years old. There were people who were fans in the Dan Marino era. There were people who were fans from the 17-0 era. Because remember, the Dolphins are the only team in the organization, in the league, that in their history went an undefeated season. No other team was able to do that. But that era is over. That was 50 years ago. Okay? We're talking about now. We are 2-6. We have won 2 games, including this one, 2 games, and then lost 6 of them. We lost to the Colts. We lost to the Patriots. We lost to the Bills. We lost to the Panthers. We lost to the Chargers. And we lost to the Browns. We're not where we need to be. I'm not expecting to win every game. I'm not also expecting to lose to teams that are trash. I mean, we're trash. I get it. We're trash. We're the worst of the worst. So to all Dolphins fans, if we want to make a statement to the organization, if we want to make a statement to that whole team, talking to Stephen Ross, talking to Mike McDaniel, talking to Chris Greer or whoever the fuck is there, as Dolphins fans, we need to stop going to home games. And I'm going to tell you why. Going to home games puts money in the owner's pocket, I think. Puts money in the pocket of the NFL. Money is not the issue here. Showing love and loyalty is something else. I think we need to be much better than this. What I mean by that is, us as fans, we need to show this organization that we are tired of seeing loss after loss. We are tired of teams that we should have won against but didn't. Because look at me. I'm a fan around the Central Florida area, right? Miami is way down south. I am not going to spend $300 to $400 on a ticket to go to Hard Rock Stadium, drive 3+ hours down there, spending all my gas money, all the way to go to Miami just for one game, just to watch my team lose. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. All right? I would rather, stay at home. That's it. I don't even want to do that. I want to see my team win. I'm not expecting to win every game, but I'm also not expecting to lose to teams that are trash, to lose to teams that I feel like are worse than us. And I know this is a competitive sport. I know every team has their flaws. I feel like we could be better. I don't, as a fan, like hearing that the Miami Dolphins are trash. And this is why I'm a fan of 7 other teams, 1 for each division. I keep saying this time and time again. People are sick of it. People are just saying, Austin, we get it. We get it. You don't have to keep saying that you're a fan of each team. You say it every day. I see you around places that you're wearing shirts of other teams. Like, we get it. We get that you like the Lions. We get that you like the Eagles. We get that you like the Bengals. We get that you like the Texans. We get that you like the Buccaneers. We get that you like the Rams. And we get that you like the Raiders. Okay? We get it. Shut the fuck up. I'm only doing this for my own sanity. I'm only doing this for my mental health. Because I cannot imagine being a fan of one team and then watching them lose over and over. Because if I was just strictly a Dolphins fan, I would just quit watching football altogether. I feel like I'm a broken record every week saying the same stuff. Because now I feel like Mike McDaniel, now I feel like they're rubbing off on me, you know? Fans rubbing off on each other, like talking about how trash we are, talking about how we could be better, how could we improve over the next few weeks, about what happened in this loss, what happened in this game. Now I hear that Stephen Ross is like spending $3.1 billion on renovating Hard Rock Stadium. And it just makes me laugh because that's what he chooses to spend his money on instead of making his players better. I just want my team to be better. I just want my team to be better. I'm not expecting to make the playoffs. I'm not expecting to win every game. I'm not expecting to win the Super Bowl. I want to see that championship. I want to see the AFC championship. I want to see a playoff win. I want to. But it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen this season. I know that. I don't know if I'm going to have hope next season. I'm not hoping if I have the next season after that. I'm tired of being disappointed. And I know we won. I get it. We won. I should be happy. I should be thankful that we got this win. Everybody's telling me, but Austin, you won. Why are you still so upset? I know, looking at this, it's confusing to me. There were games that we should have won and games that I knew that we were going to lose. I wasn't expecting to win against the Bills. Hell no. They're the Buffalo freaking Bills. I wasn't expecting to win against the freaking Chargers. But games where I, have a feeling that we could have a chance, but then they end up blowing it like they always do. I mean, look, come on. If I can get some other shirts, I will. Look, I'm wearing this, right? Then I got Ravens, right? Then I got Texans, right? I got Rams. I know this is not the right color, but it's the closest one I can get, right? I got the 3 other teams. I think my Tampa Bay is also there. I wore Tampa Bay last week. I wore Tampa Bay yesterday. I can wear this one today. I got my Eagles shirt, my Lions shirt, and my Raiders shirt, all in the wash. I think I'll be fine. I can handle the Dolphins loss. I can handle it because I got 7 other teams to root for. I know the Raiders aren't looking good either. I know the Bengals aren't looking good either. But Tampa Bay is looking okay. Philly is looking okay. Rams are looking okay. Lions are looking okay. So, I'm good. I'm finishing off by throwing my jersey, wearing Bengals or whatever, wearing Ravens, wearing Rams, wearing Texans, what have you. It looks weird. It looks bad. It looks like I'm not a fan of my team. My true loyalty lies in the sport. My true loyalty lies in the sport itself. I know when the season's over, I'm going to be like, God, I wish I could watch football again. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited. That's what's going to happen. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you tune in next week where I talk about the Baltimore Ravens. I swear, if Dolphins lose to the Ravens, I'm going to be wearing my Ravens shirt. I'm not joking. I'm going to be wearing my but that's beside the point. Yeah, this is Easy Austin signing off.